Today I'm showing you a recipe called Hermit cookies. We're going to start by taking some raisins and soaking them in hot water. While the raisins soak, we're going to cream together Crisco and brown sugar. Now let's take a moment and talk about the interesting name of this cookie. The recipe I found was titled Grandmother's Hermit Cookies. And I'm excited to say that this is the oldest recipe I've made on my channel. I got this recipe from a cookbook that was made in 1982, and in the recipe description it said that the recipe is easily 50 years old, which means it is technically a recipe around the time of 1932. I'm hoping to find more recipe books that dive a little deeper back into time, but for right now I was really excited to share that fact with you guys. So moving on, let's talk about what is the name of this cookie because I have never heard of a hermit cookie before. Now I found online that the reason they're called hermit cookies is because the spices and flavors in the cookies develop when they've been hidden away or stored for a few days. The flavors intensify and therefore makes for a tastier cookie. But I wanted to share that really cool fact with you guys, but let's get back to the recipe and see how these cookies turn out. Now you just saw me add 2 eggs to the mixture and mix them well, and now I'm adding in some cold black coffee. We're also going to go ahead and mix that in as well. Then we are moving on to our dry ingredients, and we're going to stir to combine flour, baking soda, cinnamon, ground ginger, nutmeg, and allspice. And don't worry that I'm not giving specific measurements. I always post a recipe card at the end of the video, and just pause on whatever device you're watching to get the full recipe. Then we are going to add in molasses and then the dry ingredients and mix together. The recipe calls for sorghum, and if you have that, that's great, but you can also just use regular molasses as well. Now you're going to add in the raisins that have been drained along with some pecans. I mixed with my hand mixer as long as I could, but after a while I did swap to a spatula and fold the ingredients all together. Okay, let's get these cookies in the oven. I'm starting out with a 1.5 tablespoon cookie scoop, and the pan that I'm using is a USA pan cookie sheet, and I'm just separating the cookies enough to give them some room to spread when they bake, and then they are going to go into a 375-degree oven, and the recipe says to bake for only 8 minutes, but I felt like there were a few times with some of my batches they could have been in for 1 more minute. And also this recipe does make a lot of cookies. With the cookie scoop I'm using, I got probably a little over 50 cookies, so feel free to half the recipe if you're looking to make less, or you can use a bigger cookie scoop and just bake for a little bit longer of a time. Now would you guys just look at those beautiful cookies. I really do have to say these baked up beautifully. Now I will be the first person to admit I'm not a fan of raisins in my cookies, but the coffee and those spices really does elevate the cookie and give it a more complex flavor. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please make sure that you like the video if you enjoyed it. You subscribe to my channel to see more videos and to hit that notification bell so that you're notified when I put out a new video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you back here next time on Vintage Cookery.